spacewalk by Riley and Olivas, scheduled to get started at 12:38 Central Time as they exit the Quest airlock and move on to a couple of individual tasks. Riley will be installing a new hydrogen vent valve in the forward portion of the Destiny laboratory. That's a part of the setup of a new oxygen generation system in Destiny. While Danny Olivas will be in a foot restraint on the shuttle robot arm, completing repairs to a thermal blanket on the port side of the shuttle Atlantis's orbital maneuvering system pod. This graphic shows where Olivas will be to push that thermal blanket back down flush with the surface of the OMS pod. He'll then staple layers of it together and finally secure it in place with large surgical pins that will be inserted into the thermal tile. After that, the two spacewalkers will get together and will be on hand to assist in the continued efforts to retract the P6 starboard side solar array wing, the 2B wing, which we see here. 15.5 of the 31.5 mast bays of that array are still deployed. The spacewalkers will be there, Riley in a foot restraint on the robot arm, and Olivas will translate up into the area, the mast canister, which we see in the bottom of that view, with some special tools to help in the retraction of that solar array wing. We have a demonstration by lead EVA officer Keith Johnson of the tools that have been specially designed for this task.
EVA-117 came up with some really good techniques to get the solar array retracted, and we are learning from that when we retract the solar arrays on 117. So we took the majority of their techniques. We plan to use them when we bring the solar array back in for 117. The techniques such as using the scraper to flick the grommet past it, fluffing them out so that they're spread out evenly. One of the things that we've added, the tools that we've added, are using needle nose pliers that we've modified that we can grab a hold of the cable, and we can use this tool to grab and assist in pulling the cable down or getting it back lined up the way we want it to. Another thing that we're worried about for 117 that 116 crew didn't have to deal with their solar array retraction was if we get a cable that's so badly frayed that we can't get it past the grommets, or that it's so tangled up. We hope that we don't have that situation, because that's a really bad day. But we had to come up with something, and so we evaluated all the tools that we have for cutting cables and wires. We looked at EMU scissors. These are what are called compound cutters. They have a sharp cutting blade on them, and then they also have inside a cable cutter. This we evaluated to make sure that we could use it to cut this particular guide wire, and we would put it on there and cut it. Another tool we have in our inventory for 117 is a loop pin puller. This is a standard tool that we have in our shuttle contingency tool inventory. This tool is very handy for hooking on the cable and pulling it where we want it. The difference between this and the needle nose pliers is this just is used for pulling, whereas with the needle nose pliers we can get a grip on the cable, and we're kind of more in tune with holding on to the cable rather than the less controllable loop pin puller. The other tool that they developed for 116's EVAs is this kind of extension tool. This is a combination of the cheater bar, which is used for a ratchet wrench to increase torque, and it provides a nice long extension with a handle on it. And we've attached this to the QD bail lever tool. This tool is, again stated, is used to give kind of an oomph, and we used it because it has a nice hook on the end that we can use to either direct or pull or push And this can be done at a distance, whereas with the scraper tool, you have to be nearly right up on the grommet as you're trying to push and pull it. We're fortunate on STS-117 that we can learn from what happened during 116. They developed a good set of tools, a good plan for retract of the solar array. We're going to take these tools, and we think they're going to do an adequate job and get that solar array retracted during 117.